So there's no twin rooms left. There's only a double room with a double bed.
Oh, I'm not sharing a double room.
I've gone, not a chance. Sort it out.
We've also trained in garden centres.
Garden centres.
I mean, we got promoted that year as well. But we've also trained up in Carlisle, at the back of a hotel.
Leaning on the bar, mic in hand, on his own. I think there was a wedding party going on or a hen night or something. And there's Jonah singing Stand By Me to nobody. Welcome back to Life for Kitman. You'll notice there's no guest this week. We want to talk about something a little bit different, which we do every time. But to start off with, something I noticed from the Bradford kit that's behind us is that they've still got the same sponsor that they had when they were in the Premier League. Because I was listening to a kit quiz the other day, and they asked about Premier League sponsors.
So all you do in your spare time is listen to kit quizzes?
Well, I like kits, mate.
Yeah, fair enough.
And basically, they said that JCT 600 was their sponsor in the Premier League, and it's still their sponsor this year.
I can see it now on their shirt now.
Yeah.
Like, when I've seen like videos, I can see that.
Yeah, and it's still like their
So
sponsor
that's been their
now.
sponsor for
10, 15 years. Right, that's mad, because you don't hear that. So Jonah's question to me was, well, do you think they'll be paying more money now? What are we saying?
Well, no, obviously because times move forward and inflation and stuff like that.
Ah, but then they're in League Two, not the Premier League.
But they're 4 divisions lower, so I didn't know if...
Well, I think it's probably levelled out. It's but they're probably paying more now than they were when it was in the Premier League, but it won't be much more. It'll probably be level, just because.
I don't think
of
we're ever going to
inflation.
find that out.
No, neither do I. But you know,
But yeah, obviously, the reason for people watching is why we've got a Bradford shirt is because behind us, we've basically put a load of shirts that are going to sort of have a connection as to what we're talking about in this podcast. And what we're going to talk about in this pod is what an overnight stay and what a away travel for football teams,
for Kitman,
staff, and obviously in particular Kitman, because obviously we're Kitman. So we're sort of going to discuss
what that looks like.
Yes, what that sort of look like, and all the shirts that are behind us have got sort of a relevance on stuff that we're going to talk about during this pod.
This week's pod. I mean, now is very different to when we started, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when we started, we used to go on the coach.
Yeah. But COVID sort of changed that for us, didn't it?
Yeah, which is much better now.
Yeah.
Because
Works better for us.
Because we go in the van now, we take all the gear with us rather than it being loaded under the coach. So then on a Saturday morning, instead of the coach driver getting up, driving us to the ground, dropping everything, and then having to go back, but leaving us there, you know, we just go in the van, the coach driver doesn't need to get up, none of that stuff. And we know where everything is and we're ready to go and we can go at our own time. Whereas previously, because of driving hours and stuff like that, you had to go when worked for the coach driver, which then means that you have to change what you're doing each time you're away.
So yeah, like we were always on the coach pre-COVID. And then obviously when COVID kicked in, restrictions in terms of distancing with people. I think we had the players and staff had a double-decker bus even.
Yeah.
To spread them out even more. And yeah,
I remember
we had to start going on the coach, didn't we?
In the van, yeah.
In the van, sorry. And yeah, it just works a lot. We found it works a lot better, so we've never gone back to going on the coach.
Talking of the double-decker bus,
yeah,
there was a game that I didn't go to, so not Sunderland,
yeah,
but Accrington. So I'm watching on iFollow,
yeah,
and behind the stand, where the porter cabiny bit was, you could just see the double-decker bus.
Maybe.
And I just kept looking at it thinking, I only ever went on it once, and I couldn't stand up straight, and I'm about 3 foot nothing.
But we'd obviously be at games before the lads, and they'd come in and all their faces would be white, because like Westy, the coach driver, had taken them on country roads.
His massive
like,
double-decker bus.
obviously most of the lads, all the staff went in the bottom, and all the lads were on top. So you had them going on these windy roads, and like they all felt sick, didn't they?
Yeah, mental. But yeah, you just couldn't stand up on it.
It's worked a lot better since like being on the coach, because like when we want to stop off for a Burger King or McDonald's, do you know what I mean? We can.
I think just thinking then it just popped into my head. Where were we going? And it was middle of COVID. No one was allowed out. There was no one on the roads.
Frankly,
Motorway
I know
was
exactly what
dead.
you're talking about. It's frankly, we were the only vehicle in the whole car park.
We pulled in the car park. We parked the van right in the middle.
Yeah.
I've got a photo somewhere of Jonah crouched down in front of the van with the thumbs up.
Yeah.
And there's no one else there. We've gone in the service station, not a soul. I think there was about 2 people working in the whole place, and we're just covering the shop and somewhere else. And Burger King wasn't open, so we were just in Smith's, in M&S. Costa was open, I think.
Yeah.
But that was it.
That
There
costs a lot of money, doesn't it? Because honestly, you get a coffee now and the service is like $4.70 for a coffee.
Where was that?
I don't know.
Do you remember? I lost my head.
I got these red and yellow cards from Mike Dean. So that's a different story for another day.
That's a different story for another day.
But I'm gonna have to start getting them out and just taking them in services. And when they say it's $4.70 for a coffee, just go, that's a red.
That's a red.
Honestly, the amount of money we must have spent in services.
What service station was that?
It was Frankly. Oh no, that.
No,
oh no,
that one. Where was that?
Could have been Frankly, but on the other side, I think.
No, I don't think it was. I think it was on the way up. It was really north.
Oh, I don't know.
Probably on the way to like Hartlepool
Yeah,
or somewhere.
the price of coffee these days is just a joke.
Do love a coffee though.
But yeah, so obviously in a season you've obviously got 46 games.
Yeah.
Plus cup games. So at least 23 of them are away. And there's a lot of people, Swindon fans that are listening to this, other fans that are listening from League Two, know that this league is a very northern-based league the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So what it looks like for us is a very long season, basically,
Yeah.
and a lot of travelling. And it sort of depends on manager and their preferences. But this season, we've
done a bit of everything.
Yeah, we've done a bit of everything. Years like under Richie, when we first started, like as we said, we were on the coach, but we trained on the way all the time.
Always.
This season, under Michael Flynn, we sort of trained midday. They'd go off on the coach. We'd then have a couple of hours to pack all of our kit. And then we'd travel up. But since the change, it's changed back to we train on the way.
Yeah.
Which is, for our job, a nightmare because at the minute we haven't got enough kit. So some of the stuff that we use for training is actually needed for match day warm-up and stuff like that. So at the minute on a Friday morning, so we'll leave reasonably early, sort of like a 9:10.
Yeah.
And then we'll travel up. We have to make sure that we're at the place where we're going to train at least maybe 45 minutes before them, so we can get all that stuff
45
out.
minutes to an hour is usually.
We usually stop off at the Greggs just up the A417, don't we?
Yeah, 419.
It's 419 still, sorry. For anyone that knows around here, we get a little Greggs.
Yeah.
It's changed to an Aston now, which I'm not sure about. What was it before?
It was just an Esso, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just an
on the
Esso.
run or some whatever it was.
But yeah, so we make. I think where we trained since Gav's taken over, we've trained at Birmingham, Derby. That training ground was ridiculous.
Derby's
By the
training
way,
ground's
our
a
old physio Tom, that was here when we first started, he was working there, and he gave us a tour around. Out of all the training grounds I've been to in this job, it was probably the best.
We've been to a few, haven't we?
But yeah, since Gav's taken over, I think we've only had a couple. I think Birmingham and
Derby.
I think they're the only two.
Yeah.
But years before, we've trained at Preston, Bolton, Wigan loads of times.
Yeah.
There's been loads. So what we do, we stop
Leeds.
off and Leeds, that was last year. So we stop off and train at the training grounds because usually you're sort of up there by then. The lads will train. And what we do after is usually the kit man or laundry woman there let us use their washing facilities. Now, we have had a couple scenarios this year where we've had to use... Yeah. I don't know if anyone's seen them, but the laundrettes on the side of motorways
They're
and
called
services.
Revolution Laundry.
To be fair, they revolutionised quite a bit that weekend for us, but we had a Burger King in between. But yeah, usually we just sit in a random training ground. Like Derby, we're sat there for 2-3 hours just washing some gear and having a conversation, getting tours around their ridiculous training ground. The team then obviously go up in the coach and they get to the hotel, and then we go up there and meet them for dinner. But yeah, so it's always travel on the Friday. It's always, if it's 2 hours, I think they say, isn't it?
Yeah, anything over 2 hours is an overnight.
Yeah, anything over 2 hours, we go on the Friday, which is probably, 60 to 70% of the games in this league.
Yeah. Now, Jonah's spoken a lot about training grounds that we train at.
Yeah.
We also sometimes find a local non-league club.
Yeah, we've had that.
And use that. I think we've been to Histon. I think a place called Retford. I don't think you were there. I think that was Scunthorpe away.
Yeah.
On the first day we trained at a place
I have
called
been to Retford before, I'm sure, though, years
Have you?
before.
Oh, okay.
I feel like maybe we did.
We trained at a university once. I think it was Loughborough, but I'm not sure.
We've also trained in garden centres.
Garden centres.
I mean, we got promoted that year as well. But we've also trained up in Carlisle, at the back of a hotel, on some
random marsh.
I mean, we'd
field.
done like a whole day's work before that to prepare for it, and then, yeah.
Within 5 minutes, Richie's gone, we can't train on this.
Yeah.
Let's just get changed and go in the hotel.
But yeah, it always consists of...
Everyone was covered in mud by that point.
To be fair, it's been a couple of years since we've had to do that.
Yeah. I think when Bengano was here,
Yeah.
we would always train here.
Yeah, we always, early doors, get in, train, and then get on the coach by midday and then get up to the hotel.
Yeah. And then, so you've
but
trained before you leave.
It does literally just depend on what the manager's preference is. And I think if you then start the season and you win a couple of games, they then go, oh no, we can't revert back to doing it a different way. That happens quite a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
We've trained at Chesterfield as well, haven't we, this year? Or was that last year?
That was last year.
Last year.
We've trained at quite a lot of places.
There's been a lot of places.
But yeah,
A lot.
a few universities as well.
And we trained at Leeds,
Yeah.
didn't we?
But yeah, once obviously you've trained, all the lads get showered at wherever we are training. And then usually you're only maybe 1 or 2 hours away. We try and make it as far up as you can. Yeah. Sometimes it's not even that. And then depending on what time you get to the hotel, dinner's always 7.
Yeah.
So it's always 7. So you might have an hour to chill out. You might have half an hour. And then what happens is, you all go down into a nice big weird room. No, I don't know why I said...
It's like a conference room.
Yeah, it's like a conference room.
Loads of tables and chairs for everybody.
And you'll have every team does this, but you have your pastas, your chickens, and all sorts, potatoes, all that sort of
Chickens
stuff.
just running around.
Yeah. And yeah, usually it's always better if there's a new player or a new staff member, because that's when initiations happen.
And they're the best.
And it's brilliant. Like, if it's January or start of the season, you've got sometimes you can have up to 10 people singing.
Yeah.
It's basically like watching X Factor auditions, isn't it?
I don't know what happened with yours, but when I did mine, there was 7 other people.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah, that was at Tranmere, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I was right in the middle of everybody, so it just totally got lost, which was brilliant because I could just hide in the middle of everyone.
Now, the funny thing about mine is because I did mine at Macclesfield, which was the week before the Tranmere game that you did.
This is Jonah all over this.
Because you weren't there, I got told, because we won 1-0, I think.
No, let's
Jack
get it
McCourt
right.
scored last minute.
Because I wasn't there, you wanted me to see you sing.
Yeah.
So
But
you
also,
wanted to do it
I
again
did
the
get
next
told
week?
that because we won that I had to do it again.
Yeah.
And we kept winning.
So he kept having to do it.
Yeah. So that season, I think I must have. We joined in the Jan.
4 or 5
I must have
times.
sang about 4 or 5 times. And by the 5th time, everyone's like, "Get off!
Yeah.
Sit down, eat your food,
eat
your food, and go up to bed." I didn't go up to bed. We had a couple of beers, but we were going to do that.
Classic.
But so yeah, the initiations probably were the funniest bit about.
I did Hey Jude for mine. Yeah. And I thought, when we get to the na-na-nas, everyone's going to join in.
They didn't.
No, there was crickets. It was mental.
Yeah, I did Stand By Me, Benny King.
Who?
Benny King.
Benny King.
I've done that.
Belly King.
I've done that in hotels. I've done it in La Manga in a Spanish beach bar. I've done it.
There was one night in La Manga where you've disappeared, and we hear Stand By Me come on, and Richie's just looked at me and gone, "He ain't, is he?" And I've just leaned back on my chair. I've looked inside the bar because we're sat out on the terrace bit, and there he is, leaning on the bar, mic in hand, on his own. I think there was a wedding party going on or a hen night or something, and there's Jonah singing "Stand By Me" to nobody. Yeah. So, yeah, that happened.
But yeah, initiation. So everyone sits down and has dinner. Staff are on a table, and then you've got all the players. Usually, it's quite a good atmosphere, isn't it? And then obviously all the players then go and usually do a quiz or go and play poker or bet stupid money on. I don't know. I don't know what they do, but
and we go and sit in the bar and watch whatever football.
Yeah, we go and watch the football and have 1 or 2 beers, maybe more. No, we only have a couple, don't we?
It's a school night, isn't it?
It's a school night. And yeah, everyone goes to bed, and then obviously Saturdays you wake up and you have your breakfast and stuff like that. We obviously, as Kitman, we leave early, don't we?
Yeah.
So usually the hotel is only about, it varies, like Barrow, which we're going to be at in a couple of weeks. I think the nearest hotel is like an hour.
It's in Kendal, isn't it?
Cheers, then. Like, but you get to drive through Windermere, which is good.
Kendal?
Yeah, it's Kendal.
Kendal.
It was snowing last time.
God, yeah. We opened the curtains on the Saturday morning, and it snowed. Like we couldn't even get to the van
And then we got
because
to
it was
Barrow,
just,
and then we got to Barrow, and it was just rain. But
yeah. Oh, and we were getting out of that hotel in the van.
like it was
I'm
mental.
driving.
Hotels on a slope.
So you've got like the car park, and then it goes around the back of the hotel, and then it goes down a slope and around a corner. And obviously it snowed so much.
Yeah.
We were just like, what? There's a woman stuck in her car down the bottom of the hill, and I'm thinking, well, I need to get out. So I'm just creeping down this hill, hoping I'm not going to lose control.
People pushing like cars.
We got out in the end. But
Cars up hills and stuff like that.
it's mental. But then once we got past Windermere, like the lake, it just rained the whole time. There was no snow anywhere. But
yeah, how it looks for us is we get up. We always get up at 8 o'clock, don't we? I have about 60 alarms that go off.
oh my God, don't.
It does.
Don't. So he sets an alarm at 5:30,
And then I go back to sleep, and we get up at 7:30.
and then at 6, and then at 6:15, and then 6:30.
He can't.
Once I'm awake, I'm awake.
So he's got 2 hours of rolling around.
Just got 2 hours
He
of
ain't
being
sharing
like,
a room with me. I talk all night, don't I?
sort it out, man. Yeah,
But yeah, we always go down for breakfast at 8, no matter what. Westy, the coach driver, is always there. Jamie, the secretary, so we all go down at 8. It's quite nice, isn't it? You get a few of the other staff come down. Players come down. Can't get my words out. Players come down a bit later. But yeah, it's always nice. We get full English in us, don't we? We go in.
we go in.
Like,
Because what we don't get, so basically the players will get like a pre-match meal in the middle of the day before
usually
they
about
go to the game.
11 or something.
Whereas we don't get that because we're already at the ground setting up.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is fill up in the morning and then eat again
Yeah,
after
'cause
the
we
game.
were eating till like kebab after the game then, so that's a long day without eating.
Yeah, so
we might get
fill
some
up.
sweets for the changing rooms while we're
Yeah.
cracking on. Steve will have 4 cans of Monster.
Says Jonah Red Bull Isaacs over here. I think he's got a sponsorship deal with them because
Yeah.
he's just Red Bull all the time.
But yeah, so we usually go down for breakfast at 8, go back up, have a shower, freshen up, and then we usually leave the ground about 10, half 10, don't we? Get to the stadium, that's us then, set up. And yeah, Steve just said the players will have sort of pre-match and meetings and a walk and stuff like that. But yeah, that's our away travel. We then set up and wait for the players to come and then do the game, pack up after the game, and then
Get back.
it's drive back. And I mean, some of these grounds we don't get back until Swindon until sort of 10ish.
Yeah.
And then, as we said
Depends
before,
where it
here,
is, so.
we do all the washing ready for the next week.
So come on then. Your first overnight.
Yeah.
It was your first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, Macclesfield away.
I wasn't
It was
there,
the
so I had started like working the training, but obviously with a young family at the time, my son was 2. Like you can't just go, oh, I'm off for the weekend. See you later.
Yeah.
Like I needed to give some notice of the fact that I was starting a new job, and you know that I was going to be away some weekends, so I didn't go Macclesfield.
I was so nervous.
In fact, I think I came in on the Thursday and I hadn't started. Yeah, that was right. I was due to start on the Monday, and Seamus, who was here at the time, he said to me, they'd like you to go to Macclesfield tomorrow. And I was like, well, I can't, just... Because it was Thursday afternoon.
Well, I remember being in here on the Thursday before the Friday travel. And,
Because, yeah, you were in here when I came in.
yeah.
We were
I
both,
remember
like,
being in
going,
here, and
"What's
like
going
where
on?"
we're sat now was just kit everywhere. Like, this room was just, yeah, a lot different to what it... Sorry, I'm taking your eye out. It's a lot different to what it was now. And on that Thursday, we're obviously packing everything. I'm going, like, what am I doing? Holly, the masseuse at the time, she had helped out for a couple of weeks. So she had sort of got a gauge of what was going on a little bit. So she was helping me out. We had all these tick lists, which is where I got my tick lists from. I haven't put them away since.
He loves it.
Yeah, obviously it was January. It was the start of January. And Richie obviously only coming in the November.
Yeah.
So he wanted to bring a lot of his own players in. And then in that first week of us starting, we signed Ben House, from what I remember.
Yeah, Danny
Kenise
Rose.
Carroll, Danny Rose and Tom Broadbent.
Yeah.
I think Broady might have not been done in time or something. 'cause
No,
his
Brody
first
and
game-
Rosie
yeah.
weren't, because Brody and Rosie played
Yeah.
at my first game at Trammer.
Yeah, but we signed up. I think so. We definitely signed Ben House and Kenise Carroll.
They both came in on the same day and they
Yeah.
went with you to Macclesfield.
So I'm in here and I'm like, where are all the travel kits? I'm like, there's just stuff everywhere. I'm like, I don't know where the travel kits are. So the Friday morning, I still haven't sorted it. We're about to leave and I'm like looking for all these boxes and they've obviously come in like, have you got any travel kit? I'm like, I might have in a minute. I'm like looking
Give
for
me
it all. But yeah, we stayed in, I was trying to think where we trained now. I have no,
it wasn't a great hotel from what I was
we
told.
trained at Wigan, but it was the old Wigan. I don't know if you went to that one.
No.
It was Wigan before they changed. And Richie at the time was in crutches.
He was on crutches,
He was in crutches and he had like this thing on it. He had like this brace on his leg. And
Well, he must have only been on him for a few days.
yeah,
'cause
mate,
wasn't on him like...
he was like limping around. He couldn't move. But yeah, we trained at Wigan. And yeah, I had no idea what was going on. Obviously, like, we had loaded the coach and we were like, unloading the coach and like trying to chuck. Well, obviously, while I was on the coach, I had no time before the players got there.
Yeah.
They were there, and I'm like in the
Again,
skip.
another reason why going in the van
Yeah,
is so
like
much better.
chucking all these towels out and like chucking sliders, like people asking for stuff. It was just mental. I had Hunty speaking to me in Irish, saying we've got bibs and cones and balls and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a bit of a mess. And then we stayed in some. It was right next to Macclesfield in some massive like golf manor. And I remember I had some like. I went down to dinner and I can't even think who I shared with. I shared with Ben Urk, the old media man.
Yeah.
And we couldn't find dinner, and we had just literally made it down for dinner.
Couldn't
find
dinner
because it was January, and like obviously like the staff turnover here is mad.
Oh, is it?
Like there was hardly any kit, so I had these baggy trousers on, some baggy like quarter zip on, and I didn't have any like sports trainers at the time for some reason, so I had these Vans on. You know Vans?
Yeah, no, I know Vans. I might be 39, but I'm not an idiot.
I had some Vans on. And like I've gone down, we're all eating, and I'd been told that you've got to do an initiation and stuff on the coach. So I've borrowed Hunty's earphones. He's like, listen, like, get a song. I was like, I don't know any songs. So all the way from Wigan's training ground to the hotel, I think it was like a 40-minute. I'm listening to Stand By Me.
On repeat?
I've still got his thing on, like, you know, like you've got all like the Bluetooth things, Hunty's Power Beats. I've still got the.
What's wrong
But
with
yeah,
you?
I'm like listening to this song, and I'm in the room with Hooky. He's in the shower, and I'm like, I'm stood there like looking, like listening to this song. And anyway, I've heard like the old like when they like bang on the cup
On the glass,
with the
yeah. We
like,
get spoon
fork or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've stood up on this chair. My legs are shaking. The table in front of me. It was Matty Taylor, Ollie Lancashire, Jack McCall, Mark Richards, James Dunn.
Oh God!
And I'm like,
oh, what a group!
and
to
I'm
be
like
in front
stood
of
there
you.
shaking, like, and I've done the song. I've just gone for it. Obviously, I was only 18. They were like, they all joined in, obviously, and helped me out. But yeah, that was my memories of that. And
Didn't join in and help me out.
and I just remember watching. It was Tranmere Liverpool in the FA Cup. I just remember watching.
How do you remember that?
And I just remember I sat there having a beer, and then watching that game on someone's laptop. I think Hooky.
Mental.
We just watched it, and then woke up and had breakfast. I was like, oh my god, this is like sick.
This is sick.
And then went to the game and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And Macclesfield's change room was weird. It was like really like narrow and thin. It was a really hard setup. I remember the sports scientist at the time did his
What was the
ankle
ground
in
called? Moss Row.
Yeah, he did his ankle in
is
the
that right?
warm up and then had the game ready on the way
Had the
back. It was
game ready.
mental.
I heard all about that. That was good.
But yeah, we literally won, and we scored 1-0 in the last minute. Ben House crossed it into Jack McCourt header at the back step. So yeah, I watched the game with Sol Price and Joe Romanski. They both missed out. So yeah,
Oh, brilliant.
it was decent. How was yours? Because yours was obviously. Did we drop all the kit in on the Friday night?
Can I answer the question, or are you
but
going to answer the question?
did we do that?
Yes, we did
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, yours was Tranmere, wasn't it?
Was it?
How was that for you?
Well, mine was Tranmere. It was all right. It was weird, but I had done like a week and a half's training like training days before going on a
you got to
game.
know people.
So, yeah, so I got to know the staff, I got to know some of the players, so it was a little bit different from my experience, because then when we got there, I knew roughly what was going on.
How good was that hotel? By
Oh, the hotel was a joke. Really long, big drive all the way down. It was like a big old, like Victorian house building. Like
They had football pitches.
yeah, and then we trained at the hotel on one of their football pitches. It was soft because it was like
You could
January,
tell, like,
wasn't it?
on a good day, it'd be decent.
Yeah, it was decent. And there was like a barrier all the way around the pitch, and there was dugouts, and it was like
Massive
a
golf
proper
course
setup.
all around it.
Proper setup. And yeah, well, there was this big open room where we had dinner and we did the initiations and all that kind of stuff.
Probably one of the best hotels we've stayed in.
Really,
I can't
really nice.
remember where it was.
And I remember sitting. There was 2 sofas and a table, and me, you, Ollie Daglish, who's not here anymore, Harry, who was an intern.
Hadn't Peter
and-
Shirtliff just joined for that game?
I think
Wasn't it
Shirty
his
had
first
just
game?
turned up. Yeah, he joined us at the hotel. I think. Who else was that with us? John Shannon.
Hunty would have been.
Hunty was there.
Obviously, Richard.
Hooky was there. Richie was there, and we were all just sat around on these sofas. Like, it was such a strange experience. And then, like, I just didn't know what to expect from an away day. Really, like, it was a bit mental. I've been to loads as a fan.
Wasn't it
but-
2-2?
No, we won.
Was it 2-1?
We won because
Yeah,
Doubt scored twice. Did he?
Yeah.
Or once?
No, Doubt scored and Rico scored at the end. Mark
Rico
Richards
scored at the end, we
It
won
was 2-1,
2-1.
you're right.
Yeah.
Tom Broadbent had a good game.
Yeah.
First ever game. Danny
Yeah.
Rose, as you just said a minute ago.
Yeah.
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 It
So
is-
so Rosie played and Brody
Yeah,
played.
like you said.
They made their debuts.
Ali Karaoke did as well.
Something just that season, the shorts were so short.
Yeah.
That was so weird. Like, the shirt was actually a really, really
yeah, it's
nice
probably
shirt.
one of my favourite shirts since we joined, actually.
but then
yeah.
the shorts were red, but they
Weird
were so
design.
short that when you put the squad number on it, it was like halfway up. You can't, like, your quad, and it was
Yeah.
like, it just looked really weird. And I think the previous people that had printed the shirts or gear at the start of the season had done it inside the Puma instead of above the
Yeah.
Puma. Does that make sense? So the number was almost like inside your leg.
Yeah.
It was really weird, and that really annoyed me about that kit. But the shirt was incredible. Yeah, and then we played all right. It was cold. I remember we sat on a couple of seats behind the dugout.
Yeah.
Or to the left of the dugout, and then there was some Tranmere fans behind us just
Giving us
abusing
the-
us. Absolutely getting abused. So first away day, you're thinking, oh, this will be all right. We'll sit here. We're staff, so they're not going to get on us.
Yeah, we had-
oh, my God, we were getting
just
abused.
as we joined, to be fair, we like won a few games and we weren't far off playoffs. I think it was only when we played Cambridge.
It's
when-
Cambridge away, yeah.
Towards the end, that roasting hot day that we only. I think that was the day where we sort of thought, yeah, it's not on now. I think it was mathematically not possible then.
Yeah.
But to be fair, yeah, we won. It was a bit of a mixed match squad, and
Yeah.
it was Richie's first.
But it was,
yeah, but
I mean, it was a good ground for first grounds,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, you had
'Cause
Tranmere.
Tranmere's like,
Macclesfield, yeah, you would have rather Tranmere.
yeah, definitely.
Good ground.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think what like just talking about away games and like the actual travel, the hotel, it's the best way for like players to get to know each other.
agree.
They've got the coach journey together. Do you know what I mean? They play games on the coach. You like train at different places and see different places, and like
Just as change of scenery
everywhere we go
helps.
for us as class,
Yeah.
because you see people that you used to work with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People
Yeah.
that working at different.
But it's
clubs.
good as well, because we get to meet other kitmen from
Yeah.
different leagues that we wouldn't normally meet.
Like there might be
know?
ex-players.
Yeah, players. Here's a story, a quick story. So when we trained at Leeds last year, we spoke to their kitman, their under-21s kitman. We were using their laundry room, and a lad come in and sit down with us and
For
was
about
having
an
a
hour.
chat for about an hour because he had nowhere else to go, and he was just kind of filling in some time. And that lad was Sean McGurk.
Yeah. And then
So
when we signed him, we were like,
we were like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
You're the lad from...
and he actually remembered that.
Yeah. And he was like, no, I remember. So that was good.
But yeah, such a good way, like away days for like all the players like to bond and get to know each other, like staff, because like we're all eating together and
Yeah.
like obviously you've worked all week and pretty much your work is done for the game Saturday. Like you've done all your work on the training pitches, coaching staff,
Yeah.
and it's just time to like we used to do quizzes and
Yeah, all
do you know what I
sorts
mean,
of
just
stuff.
quiz
Yeah.
on each other, and like you have a couple of beers and people like loosen up a bit. And
Yeah.
it's just it's a nice way for people
So-
to get to know each other.
Back in, so obviously we've touched on the COVID season in League One before, But there was one game where I had to go on my own, which was Fleetwood, which was a nightmare. Because what they did in COVID was they cut down capacities in rooms. So they told us we could only have 10 people in the changing room. Well, obviously your team's 11. Whether it's tactical or not, who knows. So we had the changing room. I then had a corridor. And then for the staff, we had the concourse of the stand. But the concourse was freezing cold. Freezing cold. It was ridiculous. There was no light. It was dark. There was chairs that were all about 6 meters apart all around the concourse. And I was like, can I just move some stuff? And they're like, no, you're not allowed. You've got to spread them out. And it was all just a bit of a nightmare. We won the game, actually. Twiney scored twice. And we won the game. But, yeah, the prep for that was an absolute nightmare. And I was on my own, which was a bit mental. And that wasn't through choice. So the club decided they were going to see if it was possible, I think. I think that was what they were trying to do. And it's not. It's the answer. It was very, very difficult.
It was all to do with the amount of people on the coach and stuff like that as well, apparently.
Yeah, and travel and all sorts of stuff, even though we had done it for the whole season anyway. So it didn't really make any sense. But Jonah had to go to Sunderland and I had to stay at home.
Yeah.
And tell me about that one, Jonah, because that was... I was giggling a little bit.
We trained at some random 4G, about an hour up from the Midlands. Obviously, that Sunderland game was on a Tuesday night, so we travelled up on the Monday. So we trained on the way up on the Monday. Anyway, we trained, ready for the game. We start driving away from I can't remember where we trained, but we start driving away from there to get to Sunderland, to the hotel. Westy, the coach driver, goes down a dip under a bridge. Anyway, he's carrying on driving. I think I was sat with Mildy and he's like, Westy, that doesn't sound good, does it? And something had just cut under the coach, I can't remember what it was, had just come off. Right. So we had to pull over in some random weird town. I can't remember where it was, little village maybe. And we were sat there for about 3 hours waiting for another coach. And lads were ordering Mackies.
But then when the other coach got there...
So the other coach got there, but obviously we had to take all of the equipment from under the coach off onto the pavement.
Because we weren't in the
that
van.
when the new coach got there, we could put it all on underneath that coach. And then we went up to Sunderland. Obviously, West had to wait with his coach until they come and fix that. But I think he was there until something like 1 or 2 in the morning or something stupid. So yeah, we obviously went up to Sunderland. But then when we got to Sunderland, because that wasn't our coach, all of the equipment and kit had to come into a random room in the hotel, put it in there for the night. Anyway, Westy come with the new coach in the morning. He stayed somewhere in a weird hotel on the side of the motorway. And then on the Tuesday morning to get to Sunderland's ground for the afternoon to set up for the evening, we had to take all the stuff from the room, which was miles away in the hotel,
and put it all back on the coach.
Our coach, so that I could then go to the ground in the afternoon to set up for the evening. So it just become a nightmare. And
whereas if we had just gone in the van,
we missed dinner. We missed dinner on the Monday evening because we didn't get there until something like 9. So they'd put on some sandwiches for her. But yeah, it was just it was a nightmare, absolute nightmare.
But as I said, if we had just gone in the van, then nothing would have needed to be moved, and they would have just waited for another coach, then get to the hotel, job done.
But and then obviously did the game at Stadium of Light. I had to set up like you just said at Fleetwood, but I was in some media room up above, and then it was obviously in an empty ground, and we got beat, and then didn't get back until 4:30. Wednesday morning. It was a long... And
then I came in Wednesday and did all of the washing, setting everything up ready for Thursday's training session.
Just talking about, obviously that was a Tuesday night. Tuesday night away games, I think usually they only actually register 3 a season.
Yeah.
And the ones that you do away, they have to come to us.
Yeah, on the main, sometimes that changes, but it's usually...
for example, this year, going to Accrington on Tuesday, it's just so long, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously you've trained on the Monday before, but we won't leave until the Tuesday at maybe 11 or 12, depending on how long it is.
Yeah.
And then, you don't get back.
What did we do this year?
We stayed over.
Yeah, so we travelled up Tuesday, didn't we? But then we stayed the Tuesday night after the game.
We just
and everybody else came back.
Let's not drive back and be silly, because we stayed on the Tuesday night and then we could just come in, because we do all the washing when we get back, but it meant that we could just come back, have a night's sleep, drive back and then do the
and
washing
then do
on
the
the
washing
Wednesday.
and then go home. So you haven't missed an entire night's sleep, and then your whole day off, you're just sleeping all day anyway.
So what's been your favourite hotel that we've stayed in? And favourite away day as well? Like, I suppose it might come in, that might factor.
There's a hotel that holds a special place in my heart, and that's Worsley Marriott. Just because we've stayed there so many times.
We did a whole week there, didn't we, in pre-season?
Yeah, we stayed there for a whole week in pre-season. We've stayed there for Salford. Any Manchester game when Richie was in charge.
I do like that hotel.
We were there. It's a good hotel.
Rooms are good.
We went and met Richie and Sol and Hunty and that a little while ago there.
That way when they did.
For a beer. They were playing Bolton, we were playing Tranmere. So he popped in there on a Friday evening and had a beer with them.
Do you know what, for me, in terms of memories of hotels, probably between that and the Village Bury.
Village Bury.
Just
I knew you were going Village Bury.
Just because I love the bar there. Just because of the amount of times we've been at both and like the amount of memories we've had. But in terms of like an actual hotel, I think I did like the one we stayed in Plymouth that year.
Oh, the one on Tavistock, was it?
Yeah.
When it was just middle of nowhere.
I did like the one that we stayed at Tranmere because it was our first one. I'm not saying that's the reason, but it was just like unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, it is. That is the reason, isn't it? No, first time sharing with Steve.
We shared a lot of rooms together. I don't know, yeah, mate, but I'll probably agree with you on like in terms of like the memories. I think mine would be Worsley because it is a good hotel as well, and the breakfast is good as well.
You mentioned Village Bury. We have a story, don't we, about village hotels in Manchester.
Oh, God.
What game was that? So basically, the lads were at a village hotel we hadn't stayed at before, and we were meant to be there. But then there wasn't enough rooms, so we were told that we had been booked into Village Bury.
Yeah.
So we get to Village Bury, and we're like, well, we should be here, like it's been booked, blah, blah, blah. We give our names. No record of us at all. We're like, well, it's about 9 o'clock in the evening by this point. And we're like, well, what are we doing then? Because we need somewhere to sleep. Right. The one that the lads are in's all full. So we ring club secretary, who's at that hotel with the lads, by the way. He's got a room, but we couldn't get a room. And then he says, oh, no.
You're in Hyde.
You're in Hyde. So I pop it in the map.
Four villages in Manchester, isn't there?
But we've gone Bury, north of Manchester, and Hyde is south of Manchester.
About 20 miles south.
So we've had to go back on the motorway all the way around Manchester in the bottom to this place at Hyde. We get there and it's like 11 o'clock by this point. And they're like, well, you're too late. I'm like, what do you mean I'm too late? I can't be too late to check in.
We're like, we've sold all the rooms.
We
have a room.
They're like, well, because you weren't here by 10, we've resold the room to people that have walked up or gone online and booked. And so there's no twin rooms left. There's only a double room with a double bed.
Oh, I'm not sharing a double room.
I've gone, not a chance, sort it out. So we're then sat there and the shift changes over because the lad that originally was dealing with us, he was about to finish for the night, so he didn't care.
Yeah.
So he was just like, oh, whatever. And then another lad starts and he's like, right, go to the bar. I'll sort your drinks out.
Yeah, they gave us free drinks all night.
Free drinks all night, so that was good. And then he sorted a room out.
Yeah.
And then eventually, by about midnight, we got into a room and we were a hotel. We were the only people there because everybody else was in the other hotel. And we had just driven around Manchester all night, basically.
Yeah. Wasn't that Salford?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Or something like that.
Probably. But then subsequently, we've stayed there a couple of times since as a whole group, a whole...
So every time we go there, get back there, it's quite funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's your favourite away day then?
With an overnight?
Yeah, like, it doesn't have to be an... I suppose we're talking about overnight.
Yeah, we're talking about the travel and that. So.
Like, as a whole collective... I mean, it's easy to say Plymouth, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I
enjoyed Salford this year. I ain't going to say why.
No, Salford was all right. Don't know. Favourite one? I don't know, you go. And I'll keep thinking.
I don't know, I'd probably... Because it's my favourite away day, and we've probably said it on so many pods, and people don't really know what your favourite Plymouth.
Yeah.
And just because of like the hotel, and it was New Year's Eve, and we've done a quiz, and
it's funny that night.
Like, we had some food, we done a quiz, and we had some drinks, and then obviously we got to our room at midnight, and like we said before, our room was tipped upside down and stuff like that. I mean, that wasn't the best bit about it, but it was quite funny when I look back on it.
I quite like. Oh, I'll tell you what. Another hotel's just popped into my head.
What's that?
The one at Penrith,
Oh, yeah, that
near Carlisle,
yeah.
with the big open fire and all the rest
That
of
is
it.
nice.
That's nice. You remember that?
Mm.
Where they have the big open fire and then the bars
It is
around a
nice. When you're
bit.
sat there having a drink, it's quite nice.
But I got to say, probably, and it gets forgotten because it was so long ago. But my first game, hotel was class. Training at the hotel made life really easy.
First experience, and it was your
First experience.
and we won.
We won the game. It was at Tranmere, which is a historic, iconic ground.
The only thing I'd never forget about that is Luke McCormack shouting because he wore a pair of joggers in the warm up, and then obviously he was on the bench for that game and he wanted some joggers.
Oh yeah,
and he was going, "My joggers are wet. Get me some other ones." And they were like, "In 2 secs, 2 secs." And he's like, "I'm going out to the bench now. I want to watch the game. I might be needed." Don't know why I put that accent on, but yeah, that's my memories of that game, and but yeah.
But yeah, probably that game.
But yeah, away travel,
as an
like
experience.
the amount of hotels we've stayed in now, the amount of away games we've done, and it just, obviously it's a lot better when you win and you drive back late on that Saturday evening or Tuesday night or whatever it is. Obviously winning makes a big difference, but it is like a whole, not a sacrifice, but your whole weekend you're away.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
honestly, I know you obviously just live at home with mummy, but no,
I get the odd text from
it
mummy.
is like, and people will go, "Oh, but you work in football, so blah blah blah."
But yeah, from Friday morning,
we do. It's great, but you are away from your family for a lot of time during the season. It's great to have 5 or 6 weeks off in the summer and be at home with them, but yeah, things like, because we leave so early on a Friday, I'm up before my son gets up. I'm away all Friday, I'm away all Saturday, not back until I see him Sunday morning. So you kind of go from like Thursday night to Sunday morning without seeing your kids or without...
But you can't beat that whole build-up of a Friday.
Of course,
and then the Saturday, and then like being in an away ground, winning. Like you see your fans there, they've all travelled up. Like you're like, love that, like good support. Like you go over after all the players and you're like, come on, get in the change room, put the music on extra loud because you just won, try and annoy the other team, and then you walk out there smug, don't you? Because like when teams do it, you're like, but like when it's you, like you can when teams come here from, I don't know, when Carlisle come here and win, and you're like,
well, Accrington did it a couple of weeks ago, didn't they? They were all dancing in the corridor with their music on.
You're just like fair play.
Fair play to you, because if it was the other way around, we'd be doing the same thing.
But yeah, we've had some unbelievable away days.
We certainly have.
Like, we've had some good wins. We've had some not so good ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the whole, like it's one of the main things, like being involved in football. Really,
it's one of the best bits of the job.
It's one of the best bits, and the camaraderie, like when things are going well and stuff like that, and like most of my stories from memories from the job are from overnight. So we thought we'd just sort of like run through it with you and give a few little insights and a few stories
about what it is. But I think that about wraps us up. If you've had some good away day experiences or
stories,
whatever, then comment below the YouTube video and let us know your favourite away days. Let us know why, maybe. Because it'd be good to see.
Because a lot of fans travel and stay in hotels.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people that go up for the weekend and
for sure.
We might have Blackpool.
Before I was doing the job, I went to Carlisle once. We stayed halfway. Yeah, we had a few beers. A lot
of people make a whole weekend out of it. So it's not just us that.
Yeah, we all we'd go to all the games, and you'd go with the lads, and you'd have a good time, and again, we've still got things now that me and the lads talk about that happened then. But and that's what football's about.
That's another good thing about it. Like, there's so many places that. But I would have gone to the grounds on a Saturday. But there's so many different places, weird places that we've stayed in, and there might be like a little village where you pop in and go to a shop or a garage. Yeah. There's so many different places or like all the places that we just said that we trained at. Local
you would
places.
Never have got to go.
That's the best bit about it. We're going to places that you wouldn't have gone to before. And even like when you go to away grounds and like they might have the same steward on the door, they might obviously we see the other Kitman, which is nice for us. You see the same people every year.
Yeah,
like they might be the same people making the teas and coffees and
stuff. Like think about our club.
Yeah,
like when I used to come as a fan, I'd see the same stewards every week.
Yeah.
To the point where you'd be saying hello. You wouldn't know their names. And you'd see the same
that's
fans
another
every
nice
week.
thing about it.
But then when you get to an away ground and you've been there 2, 3, 4 times, you see the same people doing the same things. And, you know, you're like, oh, all right, mate, how are you?
Even
Blah, blah,
going
blah.
back to hotels, it's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what you're doing when you get there because you've been there a few times and
sometimes,
that kind of thing.
sometimes you even see, like, I don't know, you bump into like a rugby team or they're staying there, or like well, the amount of times we've bumped into like teams in Manchester that they're not staying the night, but they just go there for pre-match. Like
something else has just popped into my head. We could go with this all night. Were we in? I want to say we were Harrogate away, and we were in a lift, and Mick Harford came in.
Yeah, it's just weird stuff like that.
And I was like,
he was with his missus in
Mick
the lift,
Harford?
and we were just having a conversation.
And then he come and sat at the bar, didn't he?
Like,
And he was sat with us
he was
having
like,
a chat.
You've got like tomorrow. We're like, obviously we've got Harrogate, and it was just like he's like, oh, I'm actually up here watching the game to like look at the players and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had some weird experiences that we probably could talk about all night, like Steve just said. But
yeah, loads of things will keep popping into our heads because, you know, I've done 200 and what is it? I don't know, 58 is it? And you've done 260.
Yeah,
that's a lot of games. If you think half of them are away games, that's a lot of away games to cover.
Obviously, they're not all overnight.
Lots of things that happen, but
as we said, a majority of them would be.
Yeah, I think that about sums it up.
Yeah.
If you're watching this video and you're not subscribing to the YouTube channel, hit subscribe.
Because why not?
Because it helps.
Easter weekend coming up, 2 quick games.
Yeah, not
Good
County
Friday
at home
and
then Sutton away. Is that right?
Huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
Around, isn't it? Yeah. And we've still got Barrow and Grimsby to do this year.
Yeah, so that's 2 overnights.
Two
of the
overnights.
longest ones.
Yeah.
Of this season left to do.
Oh, Barrow and Grimsby.
Cheers, Al.
Yeah. Cheers, fixtureless supercomputer job. Yeah. Apart from that, I think we're about done. So, yeah, if you're not following us on the socials, go and do that.
Yeah. And we'll see you at the games this weekend.
Yeah, and then we'll see you next time on another exciting adventure with Life of a Kitman.
Cheers, guys.